just a little bit of housekeeping. We have new members, as you can see. And later on, I'll share my screen and show you the list that they have, that the town has of everybody and their email addresses. I saw a couple of errors on the email addresses, so I wanted to see what you guys thought. But it is 7:30, so we will begin the meeting with our call to order. Sherry always puts that we have to have a call to order at 7:30. And the first thing on the agenda is the minutes. Did everybody get the minutes? Not you two new guys, because you wouldn't have to approve them because you weren't there. So did everybody else get the minutes? Jean, Dan, Fran, Kathlena?
My minutes are dated March 31st.
Yes.
Okay, I got them.
Okay. Did anybody have any changes or corrections to the minutes? No. Then can I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Second by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, the next thing is expenditures. I've had to renew the post office box, which cost $162 for the year. So I paid for that because they don't give you too much time, and they lock the box if you're not paid by the end of the month. So it had to be paid in April. So I need to be reimbursed for that.
I
And I
move that we reimburse you the $152 for the post office box.
Okay, good.
Do I hear it seconded?
I
Yeah.
second the motion.
You don't need to see I have the receipt for you, but you guys are okay with it? I can email you a picture of the receipt if you want. I was trying to share my screen, but that didn't work out. Okay, is everybody in favor? Oh, I have to have a voice vote for that. Some of you can't vote. We're only allowed to have 7 members. Please make a mental note that if you, when it's time to renew your membership in the Historical Commission, if you don't send the required letter in on time, they will make you pay. This is what happened to Therese. She was late sending in her letter, so she was bumped down to a non-voting member. That doesn't matter at all, of course, with us, Therese. But, so I'm going to have a voice vote on the acceptance of the reimbursement of the $162 from the people who can vote. Jean?
Aye.
Okay. Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Aye.
Fran?
Aye.
Jen? Oh, Jen, you just joined us. That's okay. And Kathlena?
Aye.
Okay. Hi, Jen. We were just okaying my reimbursement of $162 for the post office box for the year.
Sounds good. Sorry, I'm late.
Okay, sounds good. That's good enough for me. Okay.
Nancy,
We'll move-
Nancy, can I just ask, how many voting members do we have now, and is it associate members?
No, I asked for associate members. I said when we got the applications, we found that there were 2 extra. There were 4 people who were interested in 2 slots. And so, as you remember, Dan, we were willing to welcome everybody to the Historical Commission, but knew that we might not be able to have that many voting members. So we have 7 voting members. And they just made the other two. We asked for them to be associate members, but they made them non-voting members, which really doesn't matter except for things like approving financial stuff. And our budget is not that much, so it really doesn't matter too much. Did that answer your question, Dan? If you want, we can
Yeah,
right now.
It's just that they've made so many changes lately, the town council that between members and voting members and associates, it's hard to follow them.
Yeah, yeah. Let me try to do this again. Oh, here it is. Oops. Why, that's not it at all. Here we go. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
And if you note the email addresses, Dan, yours is wrong. It has an N in there that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And Fran, yours is wrong.
Yeah. Should be an H, not a Y.
Right. Do you want me to have them corrected, or are you happy not getting emails from everybody?
So I get the emails from Sherry, so
Yeah.
I'm not sure who uses this list.
I'm not either. I think this is the official list coming from the town. So I will, if it's okay with you, Fran and Dan, I will ask Sherry to have them corrected on the website. Okay?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now to how do we get back to the other? Oh, no. Oh, here. I'm so good at Zoom. I apologize. Okay. Next on our agenda, I had it historic houses, but it's more or less historic buildings. I wanted to let you know that the Lakeside Cemetery Board, there's a National Register building over there in the Lakeside Cemetery, which is on North Avenue. It's a chapel. And the chapel is in kind of tough shape. They debated what they were going to do about it for years, at times even thinking that maybe they would make it into a crematorium. That didn't work out, I don't think. But at this point, they are now actively trying to restore it. And so they have started a GoFundMe page for it. And they're exploring ways to restore the Lakeside Cemetery Chapel. I don't know if I try to show you guys this, I don't know if you'll see it or not, maybe.
No.
Can you see it at all? Not,
No.
I should have scanned this as well. But it is a 1932 building. It was designed by a local Wakefield architect, Edward M. Bridge, who was also lived in Wakefield and was on the planning board at a kind of a crucial time in the town's history, at a time when the planning board made some really good moves that added to the parklands around the lake. And so he was actually the chairman of the planning board in 1930. But he designed this building, the Lakeside Cemetery Chapel. He also designed the post office, which was also on the National Register, and it also was done during the Depression. And he designed the old municipal light department building that was torn down, and the old police station that is still there, kind of, it's ensconced inside the public safety building, I believe. So that's good news for one of our historic buildings, that they are working to restore it. What? No. No. We didn't want to hear from my husband, did we? No.
Thanks a lot.
You can go downstairs. Okay. So that's a little bit of news about historic building, the Lakeside at the lake. So stop over there sometime and see it. Check it out. Edward M. Bridge actually designed quite a lot of churches in and around the Boston area. It's kind of interesting to see. Then the next thing on our agenda is 18 Church Street. I sent you a lot of stuff on that. Everybody get it?
Yes.
Yep.
This was kind of a confusing thing. I got a packet of information from the building inspector. All of this, asking me to sign off on the plans to make changes or additions to this historic building. And building inspector is reasonably new. And really, we hadn't had any correspondence with him at all. So I didn't know what to make of this. I do not feel like I can just approve things like this. I feel like it has to come to the entire board. The changes that they're making to the historic structure are kind of small, but I still felt like I had to have the whole board review it, talk about it. They're not looking to demolish the building by any means. And if you noted in the information that I sent you a couple of plans of the whole building. And then there are dotted lines that outline the part that is being demolished. You guys get that?
Yes.
Did you have any questions about it or?
Nancy, this is a single family home, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
it is a large, single-family home. And it's on Church Street, which is one of our most historic streets. They're really making very few changes to the actual building. So I personally don't see any reason not to sign off on it.
Did I
The
miss-
changes that they're making are mostly to the window. What did you say, Jean?
Weren't they adding on to the building? Is that how I interpreted the?
Right, but
I have no
Our-
problem adding on to the building. That doesn't bother me. It's the building itself that.
Exactly.
Apparently, they're not doing anything to
they're just making changes to
the windows.
the one side, the window, and they're actually saving the one window.
Oh, that's good.
So I didn't have any problems with it. But as I say, I really didn't feel like I wanted to just, rubber stamp it. I didn't feel like I had that authority. I thought about maybe sending an email to everybody with all the information so they wouldn't have to wait for us to have a meeting. But we really can't do that because of the open meeting law. So this is the way it had to be. And I think that I kind of made the contractor mad. I don't know. But anyway, can I have what does everybody else feel? Does anybody else have a problem with what the work that they're doing?
Nancy, I just want to make sure that I have an understanding of kind
Sure.
of going through the documentations. Is that part of the reason that this home has a historical significance is the type of foundation that it has? And what they're looking to do is add on to make a family room, what have you. And they are going to be kind of cutting away a little bit of that foundation, but not a significant portion of it. Would that kind of be accurate from what you're reading?
From
As well
what
as the
I
window.
can see, yeah,
Okay.
I'm not an architect, but that's what it looked like to me.
Okay.
It is not on the National Register. It's only on our list of historic sites. And if you read the architectural significance on the one fact sheet that I sent you guys, It actually says that there are so many buildings that look just like this all over the place that also mitigate against our being hypersensitive about changes to a window.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure what I was reading was kind of in line with what other people were taking away from the material.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about everybody else? Did anybody else see anything that worried you or bothered you or made a reason why we couldn't just sign off on this? Nope.
I have no objection to it.
Okay.
Neither do I.
Does anyone have an objection? If so, raise your hand or say hi. Seeing no objections, I'm just going to sign off on this and deliver it back to the building inspector. Okay?
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
great. All right.
If you want, I can go down and send everybody a picture of the place.
Well, I did send a picture though, Jean. Didn't
Oh,
you get
that's
it?
right. Yes, I
Yeah.
did. Sorry.
Yeah, that was one thing that it had a lot of pictures associated with it. My
Yeah,
Google Earth or Google had 3 different views of it. It
yeah.
made for a lot of attachments. So I sent them in separate emails, which I know could have been annoying, but rather than have one that was very large and maybe wouldn't get through to you guys, I thought I would just send it in multiple emails.
Good.
Okay. We have had no applications during the past month for historic house markers, so maybe it's time to renew a little more publicity on the historic house markers. Mark and Frank, did you get the opportunity to look at our website at all?
I did.
Did you?
I'd be lying to you if I read through the whole thing.
Okay, well, you got time. I just wanted you to know what the kind of stuff that we do. Like I
Mhm.
sent you also some other information about what a historical commission is and a whole lot of other stuff today.
Have it right here.
You know, sorry. I didn't think it was that much that I sent you, but I apologize.
That's okay.
I just wanted to give everybody information because it's confusing. You know, you have historical commissions, historic district commissions, historical societies. They all have different jobs. And I just wanted to give you a little grounding in it. I actually assembled all of this to send out to our 3 new members last year and never got around to it. So they got it today as well.
Nancy, is this information something that I should have received?
You didn't get it?
No, I did not.
Oh, I'll send it to you over. Maybe it was too big an email.
Okay, I was thinking it was because that I just become a member and I wasn't included in the list yet or something like that, but
Oh, no, no, you definitely should have gotten it.
okay.
I'll make sure of that.
All right.
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah, so look forward to lots of big emails from me. Okay. And while we're talking about new members, why don't you, you might have introduced yourself to us at the last meeting, I think you did. But why not introduce yourself to us again, to everybody, and tell us what you're interested in as far as the historical commission and
Good idea.
what do you think?
Good idea.
I'll go first. My name is Mark DeBella. I'm a 23-year resident here in Greenwood. I don't know if any of you are from Greenwood.
I am.
I am.
I'm up off Kendrick Road. My wife is from Greenwood as well. She's been here since her birth. Both my kids attended all of public schools in Wakefield. My son went to the vocational school. He's an electrician. We've been here for, like I said, 23 years. My background is in property management. I've worked for the shopping centers, a lot of malls. Currently, I'm a property manager at Logan Airport.
Oh,
That's interesting.
very interesting.
Yeah, and Frank, I know you have a more hands-on kind of job.
I do right now, yeah. Actually, I just moved here in 2016. I live on Greenwood Ave. My wife and I bought our house in 2016. We have a 3-year-old daughter. And we've actually done quite a bit of renovating to our house, and there really isn't a square inch left that isn't that hasn't been turned over. So we did a lot of work. But things are looking good here. For the past 18 years, I worked for Bostic, a chemical company in Middleton. I was their logistics supervisor but at the time that I departed. And since last July, I've been working with a local mason, Ed Peabody Masonry. I don't know if any of you are familiar with him, but he actually used to live on Greenwood Ave for quite a while, and now he lives on Salem Street.
Hmm.
So yeah, we have quite a bit of interesting work that we do. We've done some restoration work. I know that, you know, that's something that would probably be right up all of your alleys. And now I'm interested in just learning more about Wakefield's history in general. I've always been an advocate of historical preservation and just basically just learning as much as I can on you know, where we've come from, where we've been. And I'm just really interested in learning more about Wakefield in that same capacity.
That sounds great. And I want to, and Ed Peabody, did you say is his
Yes.
name?
Yep.
Does he do like for historic houses as well?
He does. It's difficult to get reclaimed material. Wherever possible, what we try to do is to reuse the material that's already there.
Right.
Because of course, you know that if you can't get a perfect match, it just doesn't look right. So, but yeah, we do some restorative work. Our repertoire there isn't extensive, but the capability is there. Yes.
What do you fix walkways and steps?
Yep. Walls,
Mm.
chimneys, walkways, foundations, everything. Yes.
Okay, well, I happen to know of a historic house organization that needs that needs to get an estimate on repairing and replacing some steps outside. So I'll be in touch separately about that, and maybe I can hook you up with a little potential work for
Okay.
him, because we're actually looking for somebody to do some work.
Okay. Now, just having taken my training, it's being fresh, you know, very fresh in my head with the conflict of interest. Is that something that I would need to worry about?
Oh, no, 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 I don't think so. Not at all.
Okay.
No. No, because you don't own the company and
Right.
everything, but good thinking. I'm worried about the open meeting law. You're worried about conflict of interest. We are bristling with integrity here. It's unbelievable. And I want to say that, you know, now that we have such a large number of people, such a large board, for years, we had 3 to 5 people that actively came to meetings. I really hope that all of you feel free to have ideas, come up with projects, think about things that maybe you think that we should be doing that we're not doing. And like Jen has identified an interest in kit houses and finding kit houses in Wakefield. And all of that sort of, there's a wealth, there's so much information, and there are so many things that we possibly could be doing. I will send you, Frank, the information on historic commissions and what they do. Yeah, so and Dan often comes up with little projects or little things that we should be doing as well. I want to encourage that all of you to think and and explore different ways that the Historical Commission could be, things that we could be working on. So now let's get back to our regular agenda with the Hartshorn House roof. Now, we talked about this last month. And I'm bringing it up again because the town meeting is this Saturday. And the Hartshorn House roof is one of the items that will be on the town meeting warrant under Article 2 in the capital outlay for the town. The total capital outlay that the town is asking for is, I think, $1,928,000 or $982,000 or something like that. The Hartshorn House roof is like 50,000 or 51,000 of that. But we are going to it is going to the town meeting this Saturday. So if you are at the town meeting, I just wanted to hope that you would support that or think about supporting it. I actually would kind of like the Historical Commission to stand behind that request. It is a town-owned building, and it is it's an extraordinary expense that needs to be made every 30, it's actually been 32, 33 years now that it's had its last roof, and the last roof was historically appropriate as well. It has red cedar shingles, and according to the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitations of historic sites, of which the Hartshorn House definitely is one, it's important that we follow the best practices with regard to trying to restore this historic property as opposed to just putting on an asphalt roof or something like that. I kind of would like it if we could have a vote of support for this particular article, should we need it. What do you think about that?
I certainly support it because I live in a house on the National Register, and you need to use materials that were used when it was originally built. An asphalt roof would not do. 50,000 sounds like a lot of money to me, but that's today.
You also have to keep in mind that the price of lumber has tripled in the past few months. So that I don't know how recent that quote was, but
Well, we got a quote actually last year or a year and a half ago, and it was like $15,000 less than that. And then the DPW got another quote, and that was like 2 months ago. So it had gone up about 14 or 15,000.
That might be why, because
Yeah.
of the price of lumber.
Right, and I understand they're having a horrible time with the public safety building because at the time when they costed out the project, it cost $1 million less than it does now. So anyway, does anybody have a problem with backing this particular article? No?
Nope.
Can I have a motion to support it?
I move we support the $50,000 estimate to repair the roof, replace the roof on the Hartshorn House.
Right.
I second
Second?
that.
Yep. Any discussion, any more discussion? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Okay,
Aye.
thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Hopefully that will go through and so that it can, it's still in reasonable shape, but with a roof of that age.
Hmm.
You don't want anything else to go wrong with a building that is, even though it is extremely well maintained, it's still a fragile old thing. So that would be good. So in other matters, the Vision 2030 presentation happened last week. That was the second of these are meetings, kind of planning meetings about what we're hoping that the town, what the town can aspire for by the year 2030. And anyway, I was happy to see several of you were there among the participants. Dan, I think you and Lois were there, right?
Yeah.
And Jen, and I think Catalina was there as well. Maybe. Mark, did you make it to it?
I did, halfway through. Yep.
Yep. Well, I thought it was great that so many of you were able to go to it. It's important that we support the cause of historic preservation wherever we can and make sure that the town, the powers that be in town realize it's important. During the past couple of months, we've been hearing a lot about history all over the town Facebook pages while they while the whole logo thing was being thrashed about and debated and everything. But history is so much more than that. And I think sometimes we're kind of like the poor uncle of the town with regard to priorities. And so it's really good that so many of you were there and supported it. And there is a survey to be taken now. I'm going to send a link to it. Some of you may have taken it already. If so, just ignore it. The rest of you, however, if you could, I think it takes about 10 minutes to take the survey. And one of the things that it was talking about, well, I'll show you since I have this here. I can figure out how to do this again. Okay. This is what one of the things that they were talking, or one of their featured slides talking about the cultural and historic landscape, and talking about going beyond existing physical spaces, possibly newer ones. Well, we don't, to my mind, we don't need newer buildings. We need to take care of the ones that we have. And one of the things that we're hearing a lot, and I think that maybe all of you share these concerns, is that we're losing the character of the town with all of the building that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
So it kind of troubles me that this was one of the things that they were conjecturing here, is that we would have newer spaces. But everybody's vision is important. So anyway, if you could manage it, do take a look at that survey, and I will make sure to send you that link.
Good.
And Nancy,
Yeah.
two things. One, I actually had the exact same takeaway from that presentation in the beginning, that there was a focus on kind of creating new traditions, when I thought that the topic would be about preserving what we've had in the past. And I was a little disappointed in that, to be honest with you, but I was encouraged once we went out to the breakout rooms. And in my breakout room, and I think Dan was in that room, it kind of went back to what we should be preserving. So I was encouraged by the fact that when we had the breakout rooms, that the local folks were talking about that versus starting new traditions. But I kind of had the same takeaway as you. The second thing I wanted to bring up was in the breakout rooms, I actually received a question that I didn't know the answer to. So I wanted to ask, I think it was Steve Mayo. He asked me, with regards to the local listings for the owners of those local listings, what's kind of the communication process between the commission and the homeowners? Like, for example, if somebody buys a house that's on the local list, how are they made aware, or if they're made aware? I wasn't quite sure how to answer that. I was hoping maybe you could tell me.
Well, in most cases, their realtor knows that the building is on, and so they already know it when they buy a property. From time to time, we have done mailings to the houses that are currently on the list. But that's a
It's up
huge amount of work.
Right, and I thought maybe it was through kind of the real estate avenue when somebody is purchasing. That's kind of something that's kind of disclosed at that time, that
Oh, definitely.
you're on the local list. So-
When a particularly historic or old house is on the list, it's crazy how many emails and telephone calls that I personally receive from people who are wondering what they can do to their property. Can they change it? Can they paint it? That kind of stuff. Because people don't know, how would they know? What does this mean? But in most cases, the realtor, the listing agent, has already had a conversation or an email with me usually, and I can fill them in on that. A lot of people think, well, if my house is on the National Register, I can't do anything to it. Well, that's not true at all. Other people think if my house is on the National Register, I'm going to be able to get money to fix it up. And that's not true at all either. But most of the time, the people are wondering if they can put in a new kitchen and stuff like that. So that's definitely a great question. We don't have an automatic way of contacting them. All of the houses on our list are online, easily accessible. The list has existed since 1986. So it's not new.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just curious. So it's through the real estate process, through the transaction. Okay, that makes sense
Yeah.
to me.
No, it's definitely a good question. It's not a surprise to people usually. And you've been on the Historical Commission now for a year, and you see how many times we are actually called into action because of a potential demolition.
Mhm.
Not that often, more often than we would like, but not that often. And there's a lot of communicating that gets done throughout that process.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Did anybody else have anything to add or to the meeting?
I think, Nancy, I think we also have to look at buildings, but also look at landscapes. And I'm talking about Wakefield's history as far as, around the lake, Veterans Field, the old burial grounds, the Common, the Upper Common, Veterans Memorial Common, some of the hills in Wakefield. And I think tonight's item, they have something about Wakefield, Crystal Lake Park, how that got to be, Hart's Hill, JJ Rounds. You can go on. And this is history. And we should look at that. Not only that, with the buildings also.
Right, absolutely.
And especially coming up around the lake. I wish we could do something there.
The head of the lake, right.
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I was looking at today was Mass Historical Commission publication. I almost downloaded it and sent it to everyone, but it was just too large. And it was talking about ways that we could act to try to preserve the character of our town. The publication could be dated, but it was talking about various zoned protections that the town could have. And I wonder if maybe I should send everybody a link to that, and you could check it out on your own and decide whether you wanted to download it or not. Would you like that?
Yes, please.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I think Nancy, some of the people in Wakefield, especially the younger people, just some of the names of the parts of Wakefield, Woodville, Montrose, the people in Greenwood. Do you know where Boyntonville is? And those are the things that I'm talking about as far as all names that people have no idea what they mean.
It's true. And as you go through the various names of things, recently I was doing research on oddly the planning board in the 1920s, when they bought up all the land around the lake, including the Hartshorn House and Veterans Field. And these were the people on the planning board at that time, it seems to me, were kind of visionaries in seeing that the land was turning over and recognizing what an asset it would be for the town. And so they set about to acquire parcels to enlarge on the open space at that time. And one of the people who was involved with it was our friend Edward M. Bridge, who designed the chapel at the Lakeside Cemetery. Another one that was very, very active was John J. Round. And so he now has a park named after him. So you're right, Dan, the names of parks and landscapes are important and interesting.
When I was a kid, we'd go down to what they call Hall Park now, across from the MLD, the new office. And that was a place where they used to, the town would store the snow in there during the winter time. The street sweeper would dump its old dirt and everything they picked off the street down there. It was a mess. It was weeds. And then finally the town took it over, and you see what you got there today. That's where they have the farmers market. It's a beautiful location.
And it was part of this purchase from the 1920s by the town at the town meeting. So, yeah, so those are all good points. Did anybody else have anything?
I wanted to ask, when I was looking at your documents earlier, and maybe I should have asked this at the beginning, but I forgot that I had this question. So I know that there's the historical places list, but I was wondering, like, so the significant sites list is obviously a different list, and I was wondering how a house got on that list. Is it based, like, does the owner apply to be put on that list, or?
No, it
Okay.
was in the 1980s, the town undertook the brand new baby historical commission, just born, undertook to do a survey of the town to identify what was called the cultural resources of the town. And it was with the help of a lot of graduate students from Boston University and a whole lot of other people, a lot of local volunteers as well, from the Historical Society, from the Wakefield Center Neighborhood Association, and a whole lot of other people who went throughout the town and identified houses that they thought were possibly significant. And at that time, each one of the things I sent you was an inventory form. I think I sent you that. And one of those forms was filled out for each one of the properties. I think it was about 400 properties altogether that were looked at that time. They were all filled out, and then the Mass Historical Commission went through them all and picked out the best ones to be on the National Register. If your house was a really good house and it was 200 some years old, the Mass Historical Commission would still throw you off if you had aluminum siding, like Jean's house, or vinyl siding. So they were a little arbitrary in that way, but it was the Mass Historical Commission that picked out the ones that would go into what was called the Wakefield Multiple Resource Nomination. That would give us the core of our National Register buildings. And right now, I think we have about 120. I was going to count them, but I didn't get to it. Single properties that are on the National Register. And then we have a number of historic National Register districts. We have the Church Street District, the Yale Avenue. It's Church and Lafayette Streets, the Yale Avenue District, the Common District, and the Park District, which is on the west side. And all of them have individual sites. So the ones that didn't make the cut are among the significant sites on our separate list, and the other ones are the National Register sites. We are interested in adding to that list of significant sites. And we've talked about how to do it. And we thought that a good way of doing it would be to kind of allow the homeowner to recommend their house to be on the list. Am I correct in this, Fran? You remember when we discussed this?
Yes, I think it was last summer. Well, no, it would be 2 summers ago, where we talked about sending out a mailing to a specific area. You know, we could start with maybe Lakeside or the homes that are like north of the Upper Common. And just, we could pick out 10, 15, and then send them a mailing and ask them if they were interested in the process, learning more about the process.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also we would include the people who have asked for signs for their properties, because obviously they are proud of their property. And so we're interested in growing our list of significant sites. So there are so many projects that we could undertake, and there is so much for us to do. But there's, there's only a few of us, but more of us now than there ever were before. So maybe we'll get lots of stuff done. Does anybody have anything else to discuss?
This has nothing to do with history. I went to the light department today and they have opened now. You don't have to put your envelope in the box. You can go in. And I volunteer for the AARP and they are discussing the hoping in a couple of months, maybe 3 at the most, that they won't be meeting on Zoom anymore. We can meet in person. So I'm asking you, how long do you think it will be before we can meet at the Americal Center again? Have you given any thought to it?
I don't know that it's up to me, but all of the town meetings are still being held in a virtual way, to my knowledge. We have not reserved any space at the Americal, so I don't know that we could just present ourselves. I mean, we'd have to plan for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess is what I'm really saying is I can't wait till we meet in person again.
Yeah, it would kind of take the pressure off of us a little bit.
So Jean, I know that the town is not giving out permits for anything. If you wanted to have some sort of fundraiser, race, whatever, using the Lower Common, they said maybe in the fall.
Oh,
So they're still pretty
tight
about that.
okay.
But if you want, I can reach out and ask is his name Sean, who takes care of the Civic Center, and see what he knows about scheduling rooms.
I think it's Dan.
Dan, do you want me to reach out and kind of get a feel for whether or not he's been given a date?
I I do not think I am up for in-person meeting right now, I have to tell you. But
I
I think
don't
for the
mean,
fall,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll ask him and see if he knows anything.
yeah, late
Yeah.
summer, early fall, that would be great.
All right, I'll take care of that.
okay. So in terms of our next meeting, I thought we would just pencil one in case of any late breaking bills, because we have our fiscal year, we have to do our bills by June. So I thought we should pencil in a meeting just for bills at the end of May, the fourth, what would have been the fourth Wednesday in May. When is that?
That
Jean?
is the 26th. The 26th of
3
May.
weeks from, and it would just be a bill meeting. If we don't need it, we won't have it. Okay? And then our next meeting after that would be the fourth Wednesday in June.
Which would be the 23rd.
Okay. Okay,
Can I ask one question?
yes.
Do we have to reorganize after the town elections? I have no problem with the way things are right now, but
Yes,
do we
yes,
officially have to?
yes, we can definitely reorganize. If anybody else would like to be in charge, let me know. I'm good with that.
You're doing just fine.
All right. Okay, well, if not, if anybody feels like they want to shake things up, please let me know. I would be receptive to it. So,
Oh, another thing that I hear about what is it, the Preservation Act? Is that
Yeah.
anything that we can draw some kind of money from for anything?
the Community Preservation Act is something that went to the town and the town rejected it.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't at the time when it was planned out, it was like the town would put some money in and the state would put some money in. And that money could only be used for certain specific things. Community Preservation Act, and it was for preservation and of buildings and sites and things like that. And it was also for parks and more less kind of business kind of things and more artistic and more, you know what I mean. But the town of Wakefield rejected it. You had to vote on it, and the town rejected it. And then after that, I think the terms changed a little bit, and the state was putting in less and less money, and the town would be putting in more and more. So if we wanted to enact the Community Preservation Act, I think we'd have to do some research and find out exactly what it is, and if we could get on board with it, and then we would have to take it to town meeting. So if anybody wants to research that, let me know. Okay. Anybody else have anything?
I actually just wanted to say that I just recently watched the video that was made on the Hartshorn House, the one that you had narrated, Nancy. I just want to
Yeah.
say whoever was involved with that, like, really good job. It was very, very informative and interesting video. Very well executed.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was it took me I think 3 years to do coming up with the pictures and everything, along with Ryan Boyd from WCAT. That was us. But thank you very much. And that video, if anybody wants to see it, is still online at the Hartshorn House website and YouTube. Yeah. It's, I don't know how many views it's gotten. It's 4 years or something since it's been done, probably 10. Anyway, well, I think I'm going to conclude our meeting here. If anybody has any questions or anything during the month,
Yeah,
please
yes,
reach
what's the
out.
Hartshorn House website?
hartshornhouse.org.
Okay.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Dan, thank you.
Second.
I,
All in favor?
I.
Aye.
Okay, guys, see you next month.